Welcome to the show, everyone. A very, very good morning to you. It is your girls, Sarah and Hiba, right here on the Sunrise. And we're very, very excited to be here because we're going to be having a lot of interesting, important conversation with regard to COVID-19. All right. So make sure you stay tuned. Now, I think Hiba can actually tell you the ways in which you can get in touch with us. So why don't you go ahead and tell them?
Guys, if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and if you want to drop us a text, just message us on 078
Yeah, just make sure you text us and make sure you share your thoughts and opinions with us because we would love to hear whatever it is that you have to say. All right. I mean, this whole conversation is for you and with you. So make sure you get in touch with us and let us know what you are thinking. Now, right now, we're going to be talking about how the COVID-19 vaccine has actually helped to boost immunity, right? And the reason we're going to be talking about this is obviously, yesterday the government actually decided and they said, look, maybe we can go ahead with vaccinating 16 to 17-year-olds, right? So obviously that is why we're going to be having this conversation. So Hiba, in terms of immunity, in terms of how exactly how immune it has made us, what do you think? What do you think about the vaccines? Do you think it has actually helped us in making ourselves much more immune than we already are?
I think that's the whole basis of the vaccine. However, it's not going to completely eradicate the virus. However, it's going to make it easier for your body to cope with. I feel like because it's a very new virus, we need to take our time. We don't know what the side effects are completely. However, what we do know and what we are aware of is that this vaccine is not going to completely cure COVID-19.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
going to make it easier for your body to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. That's really true as well, right? And this is what we were talking about earlier as well. Now, something I want to bring up since we're having this conversation about, vaccines and how vaccines have immunity, something that I've already seen, not just here in UK, but in fact all over the world as well, is that in terms of anti-vaxxers, right, in terms of people who don't want to get vaccines, do you think that potentially a threat to this race that we're trying to win against coronavirus?
I think, yeah, definitely. Like, it's always going to be hard, especially when you have, like, I would say somewhat in the thousands, especially around the world, vehemently against the vaccine, despite the fact that it's already helping save so many people's lives. It's helping eradicate a virus that has literally put the world on standstill. I
Yeah.
think it's also a very deadly mentality that you're completely against the vaccine as a whole and you would do anything to stop it. So I think that what we really need to do, this is why educating people is so important, because the more anti-vaxxers there are in the world, the more people are going to believe them. There are always people that are going to, like, for every one anti-vaxxer there are always going to be like several people under them.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah,
really true, right? And something I feel like they do all the time is they tend to spread a lot of misinformation,
yeah,
sometimes even a lot of, false information that might actually, it has a lot of detrimental impacts in terms of the way it affects a lot of other people, right? Because the
of course,
truth is,
yeah,
a lot of people right now, they're vulnerable, and when I say vulnerable, I mean in terms of awareness, right? In terms of
yes,
information, not a lot of them are actually aware of the impacts of COVID, aware of how exactly the vaccines work and whatnot, and that actually places them in a lot of danger. So in instances like that, when we have anti-vaxxers, when we have people who don't want to get the vaccine, it's really really dangerous, and this is a problem that I feel like a lot of countries have a hard time dealing with as well, because look, ultimately you can't force someone to go get that vaccine.
yeah,
It's a personal choice. So then it's a question of how well are you going to try and encourage them to get the vaccine, like how are you going to motivate them to get that vaccine, instead of like directly telling them, go get the vaccine or you're probably going
yeah,
to get penalized, right? So again, it depends on the way your how you use tact and how tactful you are in trying to get them to use the vaccine. All
yeah,
right. So yesterday I was also reading some research because I wanted to really see how effective the vaccine was in terms of immunity, right? And it basically says that fully vaccinated people are, in fact, 3 times less likely than unvaccinated people to test positive for COVID 19, right? And I think that's absolutely amazing statistics, right?
Yeah.
Because something that we, something that we're struggling with right now is, even though people are vaccinated, even though things are looking much good in terms of in terms of vaccination drive, there is still this rise in rise in COVID-19 cases, right? So why exactly do you think that is? Why do you think there is so much of a rise even though people have been vaccinated?
Well, I think it's all to do with lockdown reopening. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I feel like because now that restrictions have significantly eased since last year, and there is still a majority of the population that have not received their vaccine, I feel like that is a number one contributor. You've opened the floodgates and the water is rising, and you can see
Yeah,
that. And I
yeah.
feel like we shouldn't be surprised when we see more COVID cases rising, because a lot of people have not gotten the COVID vaccine. That's just a fact. So instead of, wondering, oh, why have people got not, why are COVID cases on the rise? I feel like we should be asking the more important question is, why are we not encouraging the younger people, the older people to get the vaccine?
Yeah, that's really, really true, right? And I also really agree with you. I agree with you as well on that, because
Mm.
I know initially when lockdown was lifted, there was in fact a drop in COVID cases. However, even though there was that significant drop for a certain time period, it's all back, right? And
Yeah,
obviously, with the ease of travel restrictions and more travelers coming into the country as well, we're actually putting our country in a lot of danger. So even if this immunity exists, even if you're trying to make people much, much more immune and make sure that they're safe from COVID-19, if we're going to forget about all the other things that we did to prevent the virus, it really
mm,
isn't going to make an impact, right? Because
yeah,
that's exactly what's happening right now. I mean, we did all of the things that we had to do. We got people vaccinated, we made sure that they wore their masks, they socially distanced, they sanitized and whatnot, and now we've basically abandoned all of those health rules to just get back to where we were when we first started in the pandemic, right?
yeah. I feel like people have immediately thought, July 19th is when we can just go carte blanche on everything. I mean, I feel like we're in a time where, like, I don't know if this sounds too extreme, but people forget that COVID is still a thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a trend that just died out. It is here.
Yeah, that's really, really true. Right now, make sure you stay tuned to more conversation, because Heba and I, we're going to be heading into a small break now. But after that, we will be back to keep talking more about this. So until then, make sure you stay tuned.
But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, has how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense.
They can't accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you, how did I do? Well, you didn't do very well. And they get upset, and when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young, well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, he'd say to me, you had one to forget. That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
He'd say to me, you had one to forget. Get over it. And that was it. So I'd dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. An inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much. A lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure.
Welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah and Hiba here, and Hiba will actually tell you ways in which you can get in touch with us and share your thoughts with us and your opinions with us as well.
Hi guys, it's us again. So if you guys want to call or message us, you can link us directly on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and you can also also call us on our number. Just gotta find it really quickly. 078-52-473-473. So if you want to get in touch with us, if you want to drop us a message or get involved in the chat, just call us on that number, drop us a text, drop us a line, and we will get back to you.
Yeah, that's how it is. Well, do share your thoughts and opinions with us because we would love to hear what you have to say as well. All right, now let's get back into the conversation because we need to talk about vaccine inequality, right?
Yeah, of course. I feel like vaccine inequality is such a broad topic that nobody really ever goes into. Because I feel like here in London, here in the UK, we're very fortunate. We have the NHS. Everyone who is of the age, will get the eventual text, hey, you have to come in for your vaccine. However, what we don't focus on is the lack thereof of sharing. And not only that, but we don't talk about how to actually book your vaccine appointment. I know when I was booking my vaccine appointment, I really struggled with it. I really didn't know how to go through it. And I would have loved if somebody would have been there to help me. What I think we need to focus on as as just a helping hand is how to properly not only book the vaccine but make sure that you have the correct information, where
Yeah.
your nearest vaccine center is, what the risks are, and what you're going to have to go through for the next few days. And so my question to you is, do you feel as though since reopening, since the creation of the vaccine, do you feel like you've been educated enough on not only how to book it but also the side effects and everything going on?
Well, to be quite honest with you, in terms of how exactly the whole booking process works, I mean, I've kind of had to do that all by myself, right? I didn't really have any specific like resources that I could
Yeah.
specifically use. It said that told me, this is what you need to do, this is how you go book a vaccine, and this is how it will actually help you, understand and whatnot. I didn't really have any help in terms of that, right? So it was all just me going on Google and trying to figure out, how exactly this whole thing works,
Yeah.
right? If you're someone who is not as if you're someone like me and you're not tech savvy at all, like
Yeah.
I can tell you how much of trouble I had to go through, because this whole process was like so complicating. And I mean, not complicated rather, but confusing is a word I would use, right? And even in terms of like resources and whatnot, I mean, information with regard to the vaccine, information about side effects and whatnot, like sure, that was there. You can, like, I mean, literally, if you go type on Google, like, side effects of Pfizer or whatever, you'll get it, right? But someone actually properly explaining it to you versus you just going up and looking it up rather on Google is different than someone actually telling you, the actual side effects of it. Because the truth is, Google is literally like the worst place to probably find out information about your sickness or your medicine. Because you know how many memes are there that we've seen about, like, oh, you know what, if you have a cold and you search up the symptoms on Google is probably going to tell you that you're going to die, right? which
Yeah.
is which is pretty much what happens, right?
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
generally overthinkers, and Google just it adds fuel to the fire, really. It
Yeah.
makes complete sense. Yeah.
So you know what I mean, right? It's in fact a little bit scary. It's in fact Google is a scary place, because sometimes some of the things, I'm not saying it's not inaccurate, but I think it's a bit slightly over exaggerated, if I put it that way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So in terms of that, I mean, there wasn't really that much of information available for me, right? But since we're talking about this topic of information, something I really want to speak about is how so, like, I think today, earlier today, the WHO actually said that, you know what, countries need to stop giving their booster vaccine or the boost jab, because there are other countries in the world who actually haven't been able to vaccinate even a small amount of their population, right? So, like, my question then was, why is it that rich countries actually tend to hold vaccines, right? Because it's not just here in the UK. We've seen this happen in America, we've seen Canada doing it as well. And what I don't understand is, it's okay for you to have enough vaccines to give your population, right? And when I say that, I mean, it's good, it's okay if you have 2 doses to give to each person in your country. However, that additional vaccines, why can't we just why don't they just distribute it to these poorer countries? What do you think about that, Hiba?
Honestly, I think this goes back to I think I read somewhere, I remember reading this, where I think one country wanted to give another all the almost expiring vaccines. I don't know if you
All
remember,
right. Okay. Yeah.
but I just think it goes back to, again, we're thinking of us first before we think of you, because again, not a lot of people, like, despite the majority of the people in the UK getting the vaccine, it's not everyone,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
feel like governments are still trying to push that you need to go get your vaccine, you need to go get your vaccine before we can actually start distributing it into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's really that main issue. And it's not just that though as well. I feel like it's also like a lot of relations are involved, and I feel like it's quite political. But then again, I wouldn't know that much about, all the politics involved.
Yeah.
However, I feel like there are still politics when it comes to even the vaccine.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that as well. Because I feel like a lot of the reason, or the one of the biggest reasons as to why a lot of other, poorer countries haven't been able to afford these vaccines is because, look, first of all, it's not like you have enough money to actually to buy these vaccines. Because in the first place, a lot of these countries are, debt-ridden countries, right? They have a lot of debt, and even to buy those vaccines, they have to borrow money again just to purchase those vaccines, right? And that's probably the first thing that's in my head. And secondly, I feel like, again, like you said, there is a lot of politics involved in it, right? And something that really got me thinking was that even if we go ahead and, this rich countries actually vaccinate people multiple times over, and they manage to vaccinate everyone, you can't really get rid of COVID if the rest of the world isn't vaccinated, right? Because in some of those other countries, they will still be going through their worst wave of the pandemic, right? And then what, are you going to completely, stop your citizens from going to that country? Are you going to stop doing trade with that country? So in instances like that, it really doesn't matter if you vaccinate your whole population, because if the rest of the world isn't vaccinated, then it's really not going to help anyone, or anything at all, right?
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree. However, I wanted to just get into one thing really quickly. So,
Sure.
amid all the rumors, amid all the anti-vaxxers, how do you feel about the growing number of holistic and sort of home remedies when it comes to the COVID?
All right, okay. This is a really good question. And honestly, so I'm not, I mean, look, I understand that some home remedies might actually be helpful, might actually be useful, but in the instance of COVID-19, in something that is as dangerous and something that we're so unsure about, and
Yeah,
this is, basically this virus right now, even though we've been going through it for the past 2 years, we don't really know too much about it, right? Because like recently we found out there's something called long COVID, and we're still doing research into that. So in instances like that, sure, you can suggest certain home remedies, like drinking, I don't know, maybe like drinking coriander or something that could actually help you with your immunity. But I don't necessarily think that it's going to completely protect you from COVID-19 either, right?
yeah,
Because you still need to make sure you wear your mask, you try and get the vaccine. And again, I feel like in terms of home remedies, in terms of what you can do at home, those again depend on where you're getting your information from. And obviously, if like the CDC recommends it, or somewhere, if the CDC recommends it or something, then I guess like sure, because they've actually tested it out, right? But if it's something like your auntie on WhatsApp forwards to you, well, I don't really think so, right? What
absolutely.
about you? Yeah.
I mean, with the whole, I feel like, I mean, to me, because I've always been a person who's always like, if I even get like like if I even cough once, straight to doctors. I've always been, paracetamol, ibuprofen, always medicine has been right by my side.
Yeah, yeah.
But whenever I hear about home remedies, whenever people are like, no, like I've been hearing a lot from my mum, use the black pepper seeds. And it just is completely a laughable notion to me, because we have seen what COVID can do. It's not a joke in any way
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
We need drugs, essentially. So we really need to stop focusing on, holistic, like I don't want to have to drink lemon juice every time I leave the house because my mom thinks it's going to stop COVID from coming to me. We need to really, like, you can do it for your own mental well-being. However, I will stick to my ibuprofen, the A&E, and the doctors.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally relate to that as well, right? Because in my family, like our family, this it's like this whole traditional generational thing. A lot of the people in our family are in fact doctors, right? So the moment someone would like even utter the word like home remedy, my dad would instantly just be like, no, what are you saying? No, no. Before someone even completes what it is about, he would just be like, no, what are you saying? No, don't use that, that's terrible. You know what I mean? So basically that is what it is, right? And I mean, sure, in some instances, maybe if it's like something that isn't as serious as COVID-19. However, the thing is, there is such little that we know about COVID-19. There is such little information that we have about COVID-19. So obviously, in instances like that, it's very, very important for you to actually make use of the information that is available for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
we. Oh, sorry. Did you?
No, you can go
I
ahead.
just need to start focusing on like looking towards each other for the help because we don't know anything. We're clueless. Like I feel like I'm a goldfish and no one knows what's going on.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like definitely with the way things are changing in terms of COVID, it's basically like you have an attention span of 3 seconds, right? Because things are changing
Yeah.
so fast, and like every day there are new things that we find. Like yesterday, apparently there's a Delta Plus variant. All right, so in addition to the Delta variant, there is the Delta Plus variant. So it's like so many new things. We're finding out so many new things that even if we try to focus, it's like you quickly like go out of focus because there are so many things that are happening, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like I was gonna ask with this Delta Plus variants, do we get like a membership? Is-
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying as well. However, it's actually time for us to head out of here, because Jamie will be here in a few minutes to continue her show on the chat trap. But it's time for Heba and I to head out of here, and we will see you soon. Bye, guys. We hope you have an amazing day, and we will be here again, same time tomorrow, same frequency, right?
Yep. Gonna be right here. And if you guys want to get in touch with us again, you can go on our social medias: Instagram, Snapchat, not Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and the number down below. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.